Bore da. Now, if you followed the Six Nations rugby as I did, you're probably still smiling for one, but you'll know that much of the talk in the wake of that incredible match over that weekend has been about the Welsh defence and how a defensive foundation not only helps us succeed, but it protects us from falling flat on our face. In visitor experience terms, defence also plays a big part. And it is our defence built on 4 key players that can protect us from being given the wooden spoon by our visitors. They are the facilities, and we all know there is always more complaints about toilets than anything else. The presentation, the old saying is right, first impressions do count. The welcome, and not just saying welcome, but making someone feel welcome. And the service, wanting to help and being proud to do so. These are what we call in the Trust the grumbles. These are the simple basics that are the easiest to turn around. Getting these right and ensuring any attraction is clean, well presented, welcoming, and that every visitor gets the best service are our basics. These are the defence against us allowing any visitor to leave having had a poor experience. On its own, defence will not win games or create a stunning visitor experience. But get it wrong and you will get a drubbing and lose your fans quicker than you'd believe. But before we can even rely on our defence on site, we have to accept that our visitor experience begins a lot further away than the gates or doors to the attraction. For most, the visitor experience actually begins in their homes, by their computers, and starts with a click of a mouse. Their experience of any places to go, to stay, to eat or to explore begins on the website. And the website has its own grumbles. If it's poorly presented, difficult to navigate, doesn't offer the right information or help, and doesn't extend the same welcome, we will be failing to give visitors the experience we want to give. Our defence will effectively have leaked. But there is something else that begins before a visitor even sets foot on site, and that's the forming of opinions and the adoption of certain preconceptions. We know that potential visitors to Wales have 4 preconceptions about Wales. It always rains, it's a long way away, there isn't a welcome for us there, and there's nothing to do there. Now, we can't control weather or geography, or people's understanding of either, but we can tackle the welcome and what there is to do. The renowned American travel broadcaster, Peter Greenberg, said ahead of doing his international radio show in Wales a couple of years ago, quite simply, you can't sell places. You can only sell experiences. That might sound a bit like advertising speak, but he knows what he's talking about. He went to stay in Sydney, Australia for a travel show and saw dozens of other travel journalists wax lyrical about what Sydney is and what it has. The Opera House, Harbour Bridge, etc. And we can all see it in our minds now. And I bet we've all got a very similar image in mind. But Peter got talking to the staff at the hotel and discovered that the concierge did a bit of moonlighting. When he was off duty, he would offer guests a tour of the city on the back of a Harley Davidson. Peter took the tour and told his listeners about the experience, and within weeks, that hotel was booked solid. And the moonlighting concierge now actually has a fleet of Harleys and riders giving visitors that same fantastic experience. Now, we can't necessarily replicate that, but that visitor experience was made special because it offered a very different view to the common perceptions of Sydney. And we have that same opportunity in Wales, simply because people don't believe they'll get much of a welcome and there isn't much to do here. If we focus on the welcome and show people the experience, we can bring their visit to life. And as Peter says, it is the experience that sells a place, not the view, not the architecture, and not the history, but how you can experience it. There are numerous perceptions and misconceptions about the National Trust, that we're all about old buildings, tea and cake. So when visitors come to Ruthin Castle, let's say, they think they're going to see a big old medieval fortress. And of course, they will. They think the experience will be to have a wander about, look at a turret or two, and learn a few facts. They don't expect to be welcomed by an archer, get put in the stocks by the kids, watch their children join in a pike drill, or lounge on luxurious sofas by an open fire with music playing and the stories of the past brought to life by the iPad in their hand. Because their perceptions have been challenged and the experience was special above and beyond what they expected, the visit will last long in the memory. And when that happens, that's when you've got a star player. Your 16th man that can win your fans and deliver that scoring pass, because the visitor experience does not end when the gates close or the car leaves the car park, just as it doesn't begin at that point. The visitor experience continues online throughout that somewhat ugly phrase, user-generated content. Because this is where and when visitors will be sharing their experiences, posting pictures of themselves experiencing something special, showing the online world what great experiences there are to be had in Wales. And as they share their experience, prolonging their own experience, they will actually be beginning the visitor experience of another. And for that person, this will be their first step into your town, attraction, hotel, B&B, whatever. Your visitors are your 16th man. They're not on your team sheet and they're not there to defend, but these are your game changers. Cincinnati in the States struggled for years to attract visitors, laboured under people's perceptions of it as an unattractive destination. But the guys there, they focused on one thing, the experience. They gave visitors something to do. They built sports stadia, museums, and galleries. They made visiting Cincinnati an experience of experiences. What people did and could do in Cincinnati became talked about, and they backed up that word-of-mouth recommendation with the welcome. Tourism is now a significant part of the Cincinnati economy, and that's just in 20 years. But we have a huge advantage over Cincinnati. Wales doesn't need to build anything new or reinvent itself. It already has the most incredible places. We just have to remember that it isn't enough to just have these places. We have to show our visitors, and it is show, not tell, show our visitors what experiences they can enjoy there. Looking at a stunning beach or mountain view is not an experience. People will not travel to simply look at a space, no matter how pretty that space could be. Experiences involve all your senses. Watching the sunset over a stunning view, wrapped up warm with your partner by your side next to a roaring fire with a glass of something in your hand, that's an experience. Running free on a beach with nobody but the gulls, waves and salt spray for company is an experience. These are experiences people will travel for. These are the experiences people will pay for. Now, if we stop and think about visitor experience for a minute, and think about the words, it's not tourism provider, it's not customer service, or anything else. It's about two simple things, the visitor and their experience. Every visit to any of our places in Wales should be an experience. No successful restaurant ever offers their visitors a meal. They offer an experience. They offer escape and theatre. Like any stage production, there are lights, music and parts to play. The food is not in itself that experience. And of course, before even the experience comes the visitor. In that phrase and in everything we do, the visitor comes first. We should look to leaders like Waitrose in how we treat visitors. Their philosophy that no matter what a member of staff is doing or whatever challenges they face, they must always put the customer first. Even if they're against the clock and shelves have to be filled, if someone wants help, you drop what you're doing and help them. Now that sounds very easy. It's easy to say. But what backs that up is the step change in management. To say to staff that they will be supported in whatever decision they make as long as they put the visitor first. If they have a list of tasks to complete, but they drop them to welcome a visitor or to add to their experience, they should be congratulated. The National Trust in Wales welcomes over 1 million people a year to its castles, gardens and mansions, and more than 4 million to its coast and countryside. And each year, we try to improve and focus on putting the visitor first and ensuring the best experience. But there are still a great many misconceptions for us to tackle. When we do offer the visitor that experience that goes beyond perceptions and exceeds expectations, that is when our team is not simply a defensive team, but a team that can deliver real results.
It's like an organisation that has loads of properties and stuff around the country that they preserve.
It's a trust for the nationals? I don't have a clue.
Old derelict buildings.
To understand why that's a favourite film in the office. And there we are. Thank you very much. Yeah.